Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What is up, Cavs fans? Welcome into a Sunday night edition of the Block the Shot to Stop. Here, as always, Skylar Webker and Kevin Lynch, and here to talk about actually 3 games have gone on since the last time we recorded. We've been a little bit off schedule with the holidays, trying to get back on track here tonight. And we're going to touch on all 3. But before we do, Skylar, did you survive through the holiday season? Everything good? Got any New Year's resolutions to share?
Oh, yeah. We made it through the season, made it through without sickness. That's always like a cherry on top.
Huge. Let's jump right in. Like I said, there's 3 games to go through. A lot of goods, a little bit of not so good, but we'll touch on all of it. And we're gonna start like as far back right before our last recording was, or right after our last recording, I should say, was the New Year's Eve game against Phoenix. The Cavs, probably their best game of the 3 that we're going to talk about. It was a really good performance. They win 129, 113 over the Phoenix Suns. Lots of standout performances in this game. I'll let you kind of decide where we start, Skylar. What was the first thing that maybe stuck out to you from this Phoenix game?
I'll just start with the starters, man. I mean, up and down, the starters got it done. When 3 of your 5 starters earn a double-double, like that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, granted, Phoenix is not an upper caliber team. Since kind of blowing it up after KD, but they still got some good shooters on that team. I mean, Devin Booker is still probably likely an all-star. I like a lot of the guys on their team. So, but this was a great win, convincing win. And they just showed exactly what they needed to do, both on both sides of the ball, I would say.
For sure. I think this was as balanced of a game as the Cavs have had in a while. They had 6 guys with 16 or more points. That doesn't include Dean Wade, who I thought was really good, kind of all over in that game. He had 5 points, 5 rebounds, and just was kind of everywhere defensively. Craig Porter continued to stand out, 9 rebounds in only 28 minutes. I thought it was really interesting. A little bit skewed because they pulled everybody at 3 minutes to go, but like Jalen Tyson and Craig Porter Jr. had by far the most minutes off the bench. That kind of raised my eyebrows as, Kenny really starting to lean in. We know he's leaning into Jalen Tyson now as he's starting to do the same thing with Craig, kind of playing him not only over Alonzo Ball, but maybe over even some other options on the bench. And then, as I alluded to, the 6 guys in with 16 or more points, led by Donovan Mitchell, who had another outstanding game and even more of an all-around game than he usually has, like 34 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, was kind of efficient from all over the floor. And Phoenix really had literally no answer for Donovan Mitchell.
No, they didn't. I mean, that the stat line is incredible, but just watching him operate was awesome. This was just one of those vintage Donovan Mitchell games where he did a little bit of everything. He gave you 2 steals, gave you a block, 7 assists, 10 rebounds, 34 points, was getting to the line, 10 of 12 from the line. I mean, this was a Donovan Mitchell, just vintage Donovan Mitchell game.
Yeah. And, we have to talk about, things that are a bad matchup for the Cavs. The Cavs, I think, are a bad matchup for this Phoenix Suns team. This Phoenix team, they don't have super quick guards to stay with someone like Mitchell. They actually, whether it's like Dylan Brooks being like the headliner of their defense, or even like some of their defenders, Royce O'Neal, Jordan Goodwin, guys like that, they're all guys that want to get physical and everything, and just nobody could stay in front of Mitchell in this game. It was really impressive. And even if he didn't play, the one thing I saw about Phoenix, like, it should be illegal for Dylan Brooks and Grayson Allen to be on the same team. This is Adam Silver's fault. These 2 guys should absolutely not be allowed to be on the same team. I think I knew it and just didn't really fully think about it this year until they played and they showed Grayson on the bench. And I was like, yeah, these two guys should not be on the same team. But getting back to the Cavs, Mitchell was incredible. And Mitchell was headliner. You could say the same thing for Darius. Nobody could stay in front of Darius. He continually touched the paint on his drives and set up people. He only had 6 assists, but it felt like a lot more with his play in this game.
I think it's just we said it last week, but I think Darius Garland is showing why he is the most valuable member of this team. It seems like as Darius goes, the team really goes. I mean, there's still some Herculean efforts from night to night with Donovan Mitchell, but if Darius Garland has it going, you see everybody else kind of having it going. There's never really a night where Darius Garland has it going and nobody else does.
Yeah. And I think Darius is the one who creates balance on this team. He's the one who is best suited to set up the big guys and make sure they're getting plenty of touches and they're working inside out at times. Jarrett Allen, 16 points, 11 rebounds, 7 to 12 shooting. Evan Mobley, almost an identical stat line, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, highly efficient shooting. Darius is, and why I think we said he's the key or the most, important Cav right now is because he just a lot of other Cavaliers play better when Darius Garland's on the court. It's not just Darius, the things you lose from Darius himself, but you lose the elevated play from some of the other Cavaliers that Darius kind of inspires with his play. Actually, is there anybody else you want to touch on in this game before I got a couple of overall team things?
I got to get a shout out for Evan Mobley because 5 blocks. Woo-wee. That was fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. What I thought was fun to watch, they got up 96 shots in this game, which is great. But the 2-point to 3-point ratio is exactly where I think this team thrives. 58 2-pointers, shot 57%, shot 38 3-pointers, which would be about league average, just over league average, and shot them at 40%. They actually provided balance, and I'm telling you, they're getting higher quality looks as they put more pressure on the rim, whether it's drives by Garland or anybody else, but also a lot of the pick and roll action, getting your bigs at the front of the rim and getting them the ball to either finish or kick back out. I thought this was as efficient, one of the most efficient offensive games that they've played this year.
Yeah, dude. I think this is not only Darius Garland doing that because he did that so well. He's got the best little floater and the best little teardrop in the game, but I think a lot of it goes to Craig Porter Jr. also. A lot of the complaints about Lonzo being that backup point guard is that he was never driving to the hole. He was never trying to break down a defense by driving to the hole because of injury history or anything like that. But though the assist numbers aren't there, I think a lot of those came from rebounds. I mean, a lot of Craig, out of 9 of Craig Porter's rebounds, 4 of them were offensive rebounds. A lot of them were just him driving to the hole, kicking it out, and then cleaning it up if there was a miss. So I think between those guys being able to drive to the hole, Donovan Mitchell obviously being able to drive to the hole, we're seeing a lot of that balance that you alluded to that we were lacking in the first part of this season.
Yeah, the difference is, and don't be right, this isn't in any way slander or anything, but when Donovan drives the hole, he is always driving with the intention to score. Not that he doesn't pass sometimes, but he's always driving with the intention to score, and scoring is the point of the game. It's not a bad thing at all. But when Darius, or to your point, Craig Porter Jr. drives, I think their first option is setting other people up and sharing the ball and getting a higher quality shots. And it's just a domino effect on the team when that happens. And Kenny talked about in his press conference that when the bigs get touches and get a few shots off, all of a sudden they're playing a little bit harder on defense. They're hitting the boards a little bit harder. And you can criticize that and say it's an effort thing. To me, it's kind of a human nature thing. If anyone's ever played a pickup game, if you haven't touched the ball in 5 minutes, you tend to play a little bit less hard on defense. Like it's just even at the professional level, it's kind of human nature. So, yeah, I thought this was just a really great game. They made their free throws, which has been a problem at times. And they ended up with, I think 31, 32 assists. And you see that number clicking up. They were one of the top assist teams in the league last year. They've slowly started ticking up to where I think going into today's game, they were 9th in the league, and they were down in the bottom half for a large portion of the season. So kind of with getting healthier, with Darius taking more charge of the offense, I think that's a key thing. And, when you shoot the ball well, your assist numbers tend to go up.
For sure. We saw a lot of good quality shots, and Luca from Real Cavs fans was able to kind of show us the data around that. They're getting better quality of shots. They just weren't sinking them. And hopefully we're turning that number around so that still getting good quality shots, just hitting them.
Yeah, for sure. No, not a ton left to say about this Phoenix game other than it was a great game. You're feeling good. It's a great way to go into the new year. Watching it, I had plans, so I ended up watching it the next day, but really, really good thing. Of the 3 games we talked about, I thought it was the best performance against a surprisingly good Phoenix team. Phoenix is in the playoff picture in the Western Conference, which tells you they're a pretty good team since the West is so tough. And the Cavs to give that kind of performance was really good. It was really good to see coming off of that Spurs game, which is one of their best games of the year, that they didn't have an immediate letdown the next game. So really happy with that Phoenix game. But we can move on to the Friday night game against the Denver Nuggets. A couple days before this game, arguably the best player in the league, even though I don't think it's much of an argument. Nikola Jokic was injured. He's out a month, so he did not play in this game. There were several other Nuggets that didn't play in this game. And the Cavs, but it was a very hard fought game. And I thought it wasn't the Cavs' best performance. But it wasn't a terrible one either. I thought the Nuggets that did play, led by Jamal Murray, were really good. And they shot the heck out of the ball for a lot of the game. But the Cavs do end up prevailing 113-108 behind really a dominant fourth quarter. They outscored them 25-11 in the fourth quarter after kind of having the opposite happened in the third. So as far as initial thoughts on this game, Skylar, I mean, this one wasn't nearly as balanced. This was a really Donovan Mitchell heavy performance. So do you think is it him that you want to start with, or was there something else that really stuck out to you against the Nuggets?
The player that stuck out to me the most was Jalen Tyson, not for anything immediate on the stat line, but for, Jamal Murray was Denver. Like that was it. And they played him a lot. I think he ended with 39 minutes, which is a lot for a regular season game. And he ended the first half with 28 points. And at halftime, Kenny and Donovan Mitchell challenged Jalen Tyson to take Jamal Murray as the defensive assignment. He finished the game with 34. So he only had 6 points in the second half. And, Kenny lined him up. He said, if Jamal Murray's in, Jalen Tyson's in. And that was the second half. And he really held his own against an all-star player in Jamal Murray. I mean, an NBA champion all-star player in Jamal Murray.
Yeah. That third quarter that Denver dominated, they did it with Jamal Murray only scoring 3 points. They had Peyton Watson and Tim Hardaway Jr. both got really hot, and they're hitting really tough shots. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it was the Cavs' best quarter of the year. I think it was maybe an average quarter at best, and Denver hit some really good shots. Just to be fair to the Nuggets, they were really good. And then the Cavs turned it on in that fourth quarter. There was a lot of really good performances for the game, but I do want to kind of look into the fourth quarter The game changed really at the outside of the fourth quarter with a lot of Donovan Mitchell, Craig Porter Jr., Naquan Tomlin was in for a while. Jarrett Allen was in for most of this run. And, a lot of these guys, Jarrett Allen's a plus 13 in the fourth quarter. Donovan Mitchell's a plus 16 in the fourth quarter alone. That I thought not only did Donovan start hitting a few shots, but like the defensive intensity really ramped up. And I wanted to call out, like I said, Craig Porter Jr. and Naquan Tomlin, because they were really, really good, and kind of their energy turned around that game there shortly into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I know we kind of pointed it out, but just an exclamation point. I'm so happy that Kenny's going to Craig Porter Jr. instead of Lonzo in a lot of these games. Giving you 2 steals, a block, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 10 points. Like, that's really good for a backup point guard, especially an undersized backup point guard like Craig Porter Jr. to give you kind of that stat line. And really, like you said, just bringing that defensive intensity, getting clutch blocks. The block that he got was incredible to watch.
Yeah.
Like, he had no business being up in the air that high to block that shot.
Yeah, it was. There were 2 notes that I had from Kenny Atkinson's press conference after the game. One was him talking about Craig Porter Jr. and talking about his developments and how he frankly would get frustrated with Craig last year because he thought he had all the capabilities to be like an elite defender, and he was merely an average defender last year. And Kenny kept getting on him, and the coaching staff kept getting on him and trying to adjust his technique, his intensity on defense. And they said, like, he's now, for whatever metrics they use, like he's in the 80th percentile for defensive players in the league. He's like, I don't know if that's elite yet, but I know he also has more room to grow. And while Craig's a little bit undersized, his athleticism is spectacular, and he has great just anticipation on rebounding, on blocking shots, on getting in passing lanes. He has all the makings of a high level, I hate to put a ceiling on him, but I would say a high level role player, a guy who is your third guard and plays 20 plus minutes a game. And honestly, on most nights gives you really solid production. And on some nights, like tonight, like tonight in the Denver game, he completely flips the game with kind of the things that he brings. And I agree with you. I mean, I think Craig is playing over Lonzo. Obviously, though Lonzo did play almost 15 minutes in this game, but he's also filling in when a couple guys were out. Sam Merrill was out in this game, and I'm wondering how consistent Kenny's going to be with this. Is this the breakthrough where he's like, yes, Craig plays 20, 25 minutes every game now, or if he's going to kind of revert back to kind of some of his rotation patterns of the past. But I think Craig Porter has done everything he could to seize this opportunity. And I think the Cavs really, really need the things that he provides.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say I think Kenny will stay with Craig Porter Jr. until Lonzo can prove him otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, credit Lonzo, his best shooting night of the season, 2 for 3, but and both of them being threes. So that's something, but it definitely feels like he's going with Craig until proven otherwise, until either Craig starts stumbling down some bad habits or anything like that, which I don't foresee, but or until Lonzo can show that he can be somewhat of a consistent factor in the offense, whether that's driving to the hole or getting the rebounds or putting in kind of those hustle efforts that I know it's got to be, like, it would be in my head too, is the injury and anything like that, and just the fear of re-aggravating something to rehab again to try to make another career like comeback. Mm-hmm. It's got to be in his head. It's definitely would be in mine, but that's a detriment to the team at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Couple of things I wanted to highlight from this game. And honestly, if you look down some of the stat columns, you wonder, why was this such a close game? I mean, the Cavs pretty soundly outshot Denver from pretty much every point on the floor. the biggest thing, they had a 55-32 rebounding average, which I didn't look up, but has to have been their best rebounding game of the year to be plus 23. I've never seen anything like that. And the reason I think a big part of the reason that this game wasn't a more handled win was they're only 11-19 from the free throw line, which they have too many games where they shoot poorly from the free throw line. And the biggest thing that's becoming a little bit of a trend, we haven't talked about a lot, is turnovers. This team had 17 turnovers in this game. Garland and Mitchell combined for 10. That can't happen. When you play two smaller dynamic guards who are as good at driving and handling the ball as them, the turnover battle has to be an advantage for your side. The Cavs cannot have those two guys having 10 turnovers and being a -7 in the turnover game. That's a recipe for disaster. And if the Nuggets were a little bit healthier, a couple other things would have went differently. It would have cost them this game. Don't get me wrong, a win's a win. I'm super happy to get this win, but just a little bit alarming that the turnovers seem to be ticking up lately, and a lot of it is coming from the Cavs starting backcourt.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of those turnovers came in the third quarter, which is when Denver really kind of pulled away. That was their best quarter, and a lot of I would just say like sloppy mistakes. They weren't even like, oh, guys gummed up a passing lane or anything like that. It was a lot of like sloppy turnovers. I agree. And yeah, that is something that has been ticking up for sure. And I will never complain about a good free throw percentage. 58%. Granted, you only had 19 attempts, but man, that's brutal.
Yeah, not good, but with as much struggles as the Cavs have had for virtually this whole season, you take the good with the bad when you come out with a win, right? So I think
Absolutely.
you take this. And the other thing I wanted to mention, Kenny from his press conference, he was really critical of the offense in this game. Partially not getting the ball inside enough. Both Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley only ended up with 8 points. They ended up with 15 combined shot attempts. But it was the most critical I'd ever heard him of Evan Mobley, saying like, we don't get it to him enough. We need to work on that. But when we get it to Evan, he's got to be stronger with the ball. Like he's bringing the ball down low. He's getting the ball slapped out of his hands. He's not finishing strong. And I thought it was really interesting because Kenny's not a big call guys out by name in the media. And I don't know that I'd ever heard him do it with Evan Mobley, but I don't know if it's a tactic to try and get him, try and call it to his attention, but like nothing he said is wrong. I'm just surprised he did it in the media.
I think it's just something, I would say a circumstance of this season because of the way the season has gone. He's got to say something. He can't just be Zach Taylor and be up there every week saying the same thing. So I think it's a combination of just how the season has progressed and having to say different things to the media and say different things to the guys in your locker room to try and keep this good vibes and good momentum going.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't think it worked very well because we'll now lead into today's game, which was a 114-110 defeat to the Detroit Pistons. Both teams had a couple guys out there, namely their starting centers. Jarrett Allen out for the Cavs. Jalen Duren was out for the Pistons, who, if you don't watch a lot of Pistons, he's been fantastic this year. He's probably going to make the All-Star team. He's just really good. And this is a back and forth game for a lot of it. For a lot of it, with the exception of the second quarter. The Cavs get outscored 47-28 in the second quarter. And while this wasn't so much a problem in the first couple games that we talked about tonight, it has been a problem this season. Coming into this game, The Cavs were 29th or second from last in net rating in the second quarter. That it's courtesy of Real Cavs fans is where I saw it and then looked it up to see that it's correct. And once they update the stats, they might actually be the worst second quarter team in the league. There's reasons for that. Like you could say second quarter is usually a bench heavy time. And with the Cavs being having injuries and playing shorthanded, maybe playing certain guys more than they would want to, maybe that makes some of the sense, makes for some of the reasons that they struggle in second quarters. Another reason, it's Donovan Mitchell's lowest scoring quarter by far on the season. So I don't know. The moral of this game is they played okay. They played good enough to win its stretches, but they just let it all get away in the second quarter, and they couldn't make up the gap after halftime.
Yeah, and I've noticed that. I don't know if I've noticed it to be like, hey, they're the worst in the league, but I've definitely noticed where, especially games where Donovan Mitchell comes out like gangbusters in the first quarter. As soon as the second quarter comes, it seems like he starts to try and force others to, contribute and versus, hey, I'm rolling, I'm hot. Let me go for 71.
Yep. Yeah. Couple of things that stood out. Like the Pistons shot 72% from the field in that second quarter. They hit 8 of 10 3-pointers. And sometimes teams get really hot. Dennis Jenkins, former member of my fantasy team, had his best game in a while. He was really good earlier in the season when the Pistons were having some injuries, and they dusted him off for this game, and he was really, really good. The most disappointing thing is they get out rebounded 12-5 in this quarter. They let the Pistons have 13 assists. The Pistons averaged 28 assists a game, and they get 13 in a quarter. Just probably as bad as defensive quarter as we've seen from the Cavs in a while, coming off of a lot of good defensive performances. And just shows you when you play really any team in the NBA, but especially when you play good teams, you can't lose focus for a quarter or a half quarter, because a team can go on a run that you just can't make up for, and it'll end up being the difference in the game.
Yeah. And as far as rebounding, I know this probably isn't the thing to kind of be on, but your top 2 rebounders on the night can't be Jalen Tyson and Craig Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be. It's got to be like DeAndre Hunter or Evan Mobley have to be in there. It's got to be Naquan Tomlin or Thomas Bryant. Like, it can't be those 2 guys being your leading rebounders in the game. It just can't be
for sure. And the Cavs, as I said, were shorthanded tonight. Jarrett's out. Dean Wade was out again, but I have to call or question, I should say, the lineup that Kenny went with for a good portion of the second quarter. For over half the second quarter, the lineup was Thomas Bryant, Darius Garland, Sam Merrill, Lonzo Ball, and Jalen Tyson. And that's a lineup you're not going to get much rebounding from at all. Tyson's a good rebounder for a small forward. Other than that, no real rebounding. You've got a couple of non-shooters on that floor. You have a really weird defensive lineup, or I guess defensive assignments that would be made out of that lineup. And frankly, again, it was a difference in the game, and you can point to certain players' performances and everything, but also, I don't know if we've ever seen that 5-man lineup, and they played together for, I think, six minutes, or almost 6 minutes of the second quarter. And, I basically Kenny pulled a string with that, and it was the wrong string for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is such a goofy lineup. Like, you're not really getting any offense in there other than kind of Darius Garland and Sam Merrill. You're not really getting any rebounding in there. You're not really going to get any assists in there other than Darius Garland. It was a weird lineup for sure.
Yeah, and his overall stat line didn't look bad tonight. But I didn't think Sam played a very good game. If I'm being honest, I thought he got beat up quite a bit defensively, both literally and figuratively. I thought he he was only credited, I think, with 2 turnovers, but it seemed like he had more. He had trouble just moving the ball, and um, I don't know if he was trying to do too much or whatever, but like, yeah, I did not think Sam had it tonight. And Kenny, he stayed with him because he often stays with his guys, and played Sam 27 minutes, and he had 15 points. He shot the ball fine. It was everything besides shooting the ball that I thought he wasn't very good. I mean, he fouled out tonight. When do you ever see Sam Merrill even in foul trouble, let alone fouling? He was just reaching on defense instead of sliding his feet. And yeah, it was just tonight's a night, especially Sam missing the last couple games with an ankle injury. Like, I probably would have saw that and maybe gone away from him a little bit more than Kenny did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of Tyrese Proctor. I like him. I like his shooting and stuff, and I just really haven't seen enough of him to really make a judgment. But this might be a time where you put Tyrese Proctor in to fill in some of that gap that you would get from Sam Merrill.
You could, but I mean, I'm not even saying Sam shouldn't have played at all. Don't get me wrong, but like, even Donovan and Darius only played like 32 minutes. Craig Porter only played 22 minutes. Like, I'm saying you could have give 2 or 3 of Sam's minutes to, some of those guys. And when you felt like he hit one big 3 to kind of keep him in it with a few seconds left. Other than that, I don't think he scored in the second half. Yeah, that was his only bucket in the second half and over 13 minutes of action. And so, yeah, it is what it is. And I understand you. Sometimes you just stick with Sam, even when he's not having his best game, just because of his ability, his shooting ability. And even if nothing else, he stretches the floor for your offense. I thought that was one move. I was kind of like sitting there thinking, like, I think Kenny could like go away or reduce Sam's minutes a little bit here tonight. He doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, especially coming off the ankle injury, shooting was fine. Not down the stretch though, but yeah, it definitely can be said that Kenny lost this game because of the lineup that in that second quarter and kind of down the stretch a bit, but it's still a lot of negative plus minuses on the board.
It is, and they made this great comeback in the fourth quarter. They outscored him for the fourth quarter. Like, I think Donovan Mitchell scored like 8 points in a row, or maybe 10 out of 12 points during the run that like got him back in the game. But they just couldn't come up with winning plays. I mean, a lot of people were upset that the Cavs get the defensive stop when they're down 2 with like under a minute to go, and then Asar Thompson gets a putback, and he absolutely like pushed DeAndre Hunter a little bit to get the rebound, but refs tend to swallow the whistle a lot more in the last couple of minutes. You got to get a better seal on a box out. You got to have somebody else in the game who's a stronger rebounder, because he was playing DeAndre Hunter at the power forward position, which hasn't gone well for a lot of the year. When he's been forced now tonight without Jarrett Allen and Dean Wade, you only have so many options. I get that.
Right.
But yeah, it's tough. And this is, I mean, the Cavs did this so many times during their like toughest stretch where they kind of played with their food for parts of the game, got a double-digit deficit, roared back in the fourth quarter, and then couldn't get over the top. And I don't know how many games we talked about that exact thing happening, and that's unfortunately exactly what happened tonight. We just haven't seen it lately, so I'm hoping it's an anomaly and not a trend restarting.
I'd hope so, but I do think if you have either Dean or Jared in this game, you might squeak this one out. And to credit, Detroit is the number 1 seed in the East, so it's not like it's with some little podunk, Wizards, but the number 1 team in the East that you could have definitely taken this game is encouraging.
Yeah, so I won't get into it with you like I did with somebody online about the whole. They said something similar to that. I'm like, Jalen Duren's out for the Pistons, among a couple other guys. And frankly, he has been a significantly better player this year than Jarrett Allen has been. So, like,
I would agree.
It's hard to say we didn't have Jarrett Allen, so we can excuse the loss. They didn't have their all-star center. Like, guys are going to miss games in the NBA. It happens. I mean, we see it with the Cavs. It happens virtually every game. So the Cavs had certainly had enough going for them tonight to win the game. They didn't play well enough. They played one really bad quarter, and they didn't have enough to make up for it otherwise.
Agreed. And I'm not saying if we had Jarrett Allen or anything like that, but if you have either Jarrett or Dean Wade, kind of eat a little more of those Thomas Bryant power forward minutes or big man minutes, I think you find a way to win this a little bit better.
Yeah. So moving on, we got one game. The Cavs are basically playing every other day for the next several weeks. So we got lots of we're gonna have lots and lots of games to talk about. Luckily, this game coming up is against the Indiana Pacers, who last check had lost like 11 in a row. And the Pacers, I mean, look, not going to get any sympathy from me after what happened in the playoffs last year, but the Pacers have had like the season from hell. Like, they've had nothing but injuries. Pascal Siakam's been really good and for the most part healthy, and they've had pretty much everything else go wrong for them. And so there is really no excuse that the Cavs would not win this game. This is one of those games. You go out and take care of business against the Pacers. Today's game doesn't mean nearly as much. It's a blip on the radar. You win against the Pacers and you start trying to get this thing rolling again, because I believe we won't talk about them now, but I think they have a back-to-back against the Timberwolves coming up after this Pacers game.
Yeah, the Pacers are 2-13 in their last 15 games. So
yeah, it's been
get out there and handle business.
Yes, go handle business. Hopefully, be healthy. Games in Indiana, which the house of nightmares, Gamebridge Fieldhouse for our Cavs. But this is absolutely a game. No excuses. Go win this. Keep some positive momentum going. And like I said, this really tough stretch they were on. Well, one didn't turn out to be quite as tough with once it got past that Spurs game. The Suns game ended up being a really good matchup for them. They missed Joker with the Nuggets. Even today, they're playing a Pistons team missing people. So the stretch, well, it's still a very tough stretch. Doesn't appear to be quite as tough as it was. And then once you get to this back-to-back with the Timberwolves, the schedule, lightens up some. So, yeah, like we said, get this win against the Pacers and let's keep it moving.
Absolutely. I can't wait until we get into February, because the schedule gets much more favorable for the Cavs.
Right. All right. Well, we'll wrap up tonight's episode with getting back on track to our one nice thing for everything. And we had more nice things to say tonight than we have in previous episodes, luckily. But if we're ever going to talk negative, we always want to end the show on a positive note. So what's one nice thing you want to put on the internet, Skylar?
Yeah. So today got a visit from some family that I don't get to see too much of. So it's always great to see a lot of people from that out of town or a little further away and just catch up. And I'm I don't want to say I'm one of those people that like is just horrible to text or communicate or anything like that. But I'm definitely one of those people that gets so focused into something that everything else falls to the wayside. So being able to pull out of that quality in myself and make plans and see some family, always really good, always refreshing, and also just can't wait to get back to work. This stretch between Christmas and New Year's is like, you don't know what day it is, you don't know what time it is. I'm ready to get back into my rhythm and my schedule.
Yeah, no, for sure. My one nice thing, kind of all goes together. My parents came to visit this weekend and got to spend time with their granddaughters, and they were great. And my daughter loves seeing them so much. She was so sad when they left today. And among the things they did with them, we actually took her to the mall, she has been collecting change. My dad's a coin collector and loves like giving her change for her piggy bank. So she has like just pounds of change. And she wanted to, for the first time, use her own money to go shopping and buy some things for herself. So she literally packed a purse with $30 in change. And
Oh my God.
we headed to the mall, and she went to, a lot of people probably familiar with like Claire's, the cheap jewelry place in the mall. And naturally, I'm kind of like embarrassed. I'm like, we're going to go up and pay for all this stuff and change. It was like $17 worth of stuff that she had. And the worker was like very nice and very patient. And there were other people in line. I was trying to let them go first. I'm like, you understand, my daughter's learning the value of money. She's going to pay with her own change. This could take a couple minutes. And the people just smiled, like, go right ahead. No worries. Don't. And everybody like just kind of watching her and like, very patient and kind with her. So there's one of the best things in life is just when people show you kindness for no reason other than they're a kind person. So I just want to give all those people a shout outs and make my daughter, and she feels like such a big girl. She is so happy. She came home with her shopping bag, her leftover change, just putting her leftover change in the piggy bank. She feels like she's a full on adult now. So just want to call out everybody for being nice with my daughter. Learns the value of the dollar.
That's awesome. That's so good. I've been doing that with Liam too. Like, all right, here's your money.
Yep.
You pick the thing out. It's usually a Hot Wheel. We give him like $2.
Yeah.
And so he's got to like pick it out, and then he's got to give it to the lady. He's got to do all of it. And we don't do self-checkout with him.
Yeah. Wait, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you everybody for listening. I know we usually don't have 3 games to do in one pod. It was just kind of the way the schedule and the holidays fell this week. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back on a regular schedule for the foreseeable future. So Wednesday night we'll be back, talk about that Pacers game, and then kind of the doubleheader they'll have coming up with the Timberwolves. So as always, follow us everywhere that we're on. Everywhere you're on social media, we're on social media. Like, love for you to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and interact with us. Anywhere we are. We really liked doing the mailbag here episode recently. We talked about doing that maybe once a month or something to try and create some interaction between us and people who listen to the podcast. So we'll look to do that. So with that being said, I am Kevin Lynch, and we are out of here. But as always,
go Cavs.